Necropolis League is becoming one of my favorite leagues because it allows me to do a lot of crazy things with gear. Today I wanted to show off and just kind of showcase something really cool with a build and tie it with one of my favorite mechanics. If you're not new here and you've been here for a while, or you are new here, you've probably learned that I really enjoy Blight. Blight is one of my favorite league mechanics. I have an absolutely fantastic time doing Blight at the beginning of the league, revisiting Blight later in the league, finding out new cool Blight interactions and Blight things, and overall, I just really enjoy it. And today I wanted to pair my favorite mechanic with a really cool build that I've been playing. Now I'm going to put that little star asterisk that this is not a build guide. This is not to teach you how to build this build, but this is to show you something really cool with Blight and something that I've been doing. Now, today we're going to be doing a Blight Ravage. I'm going to walk you through what I'm going to do to it. I'm going to walk you through what the build does, and I'm going to give you a little bit of tips and tricks for Blight Ravage, but not a full Blight Ravage guide. If you want a full Blight Ravage guide, leave a comment down below. I'll happily make a video about it, talk to you about the ring annoyance, what to do, how to do towers and builds, and I'd be happy to share that information. But today I wanted to talk about the very basics of Blight and just say Blight Ravage. One of my favorite things about Blight is the fact that it's tower defense. Mobs come out in a straight line, they walk at you, they're pretty much stacked up. It's very easy to see where mobs are coming from. There are good choke points, and there are good ways and good builds that really handle this really well. One of those is to have some sort of ignite or explode or proliferate build. Pretty much that means is it puts down like a dot. That dot at the end of its duration explodes, that mob dies and explodes, and that chain kind of goes along down the list. So essentially, like, you can do like ignite explode, you could do Herald of Ash, Herald of Ice, you could do the Chieftain Auto Bomber Explodey Boys, the Cast When Stun Explodey Boys, the Detonate Dead. Pretty much anything that ignites, anything that proliferates, anything that poison explodes or fizz explodes, anything that explodes is great. And today that's what we're going to do. I'm actually playing a Blade Vortex build that I've played on and off for the duration of the Necropolis League. It utilizes a chest with explode. It utilizes a bow with explode. I know this is a mirror tier bow. I know this chest is really good, but the takeaways from this is this build is playable with a double damage or explode bow. This build is playable with an explode chest. And we're just going to walk through what Blight looks like while exploding a bunch of mobs. I'm going to take my Blight Ravaged Map. I'm going to do 2 silver oils for quant. I'm going to do 2 opalescents for lucky chests. I'm going to do 2 black chests, or 2 black oils for increased pack size and additional rewards. We're going to do 3 teal oils so that the Blight is a lot faster. We are going to chisel our map for quality. We are going to alch our map. We're going to 6 mod our map so that it stays 6 mod. We are going to corrupt it, hope it goes 8. It doesn't, we're pretty much good to go. The only modifier on this build that I don't want to deal with is LE Reflect. So if we had rolled LE Reflect, we'd have grabbed a new map and dealt with it. I don't want to like do the whole flask and jump through a lot of hoops. I want to make my life as super simple as possible. Blight is one of those things that scales really well off of quantity on the map. So we're going to put in some fragments to get more quantity on the map. We're going to throw in our map. Our Blights are not affected at all by the Atlas tree, so we're not worried at all about the Atlas tree. We're not worried about our ring annoyance because we're playing an insanely powerful mechanic, which is an explode. And we're not really too worried about having magic find gear or anything like that. We're just worried about completing the Blight and finishing it. Now, this is going to be interesting because pretty much the showcase of this build is it's just going to hit a mob and then it's going to explode, and then they're going to explode. And one of the cool things that I want to show off with Blight is, let me get these mobs out of the way. One of the cool things that I want to show off about Blight, and one of the reasons that I use teal oils, is I want a bunch of mobs to spawn fast so that I can showcase the power of explode. So we're going to come over here, we're going to kill this guy, and the whole line of mobs is going to explode. We're going to wait for these mobs up here to come down the line, and then we're going to really be able to see what it looks like. Essentially, I want to be able to not have to worry too much about towers, only if I very rarely need to. And I want to be able to kill all of these mobs because they're in a line, and explode does what it does best. It kills the first mob in the line, it goes down the list of mobs, and everything just becomes dead. I don't have to worry about chasing down lines. I don't have to worry about where I'm going with things. I just want nice, even stacks of mobs to explode to my heart's content. And honestly, when I get to doing things like this, where like I could just like let this pack of mobs, oh, I thought those were gonna touch. I could just, you know, just blow up the whole thing. And this is it. This is what I wanted to show. This is the build. And you see this boss, all of his health just from explodes, pretty much gone down the drain. Don't even need to worry. And Blight Ravaged bosses, because of explode mechanics, become relatively easy. Now, you've probably seen some of my other videos, or you have, you know, like I said, if you're not new here, you've seen that I've done this type of build before. I've brought this build, and we'll showcase a little bit of tier 17 in a second. And you just pretty much can just do what you need to do. You just run around, everything explodes, and it feels fantastic. Now, this isn't going to be like I said, a be all end all. I just wanted to show off a really, really cool way to do Blight. I wanted to showcase it, that it can just do it. It does what I need to do. And it's a really good mechanic to just take into high end other types of content. You see that boss there just exploded. We don't even have to think. That boss there just absolutely exploded. And in itself, explode is just an absolutely huge powerhouse of a mechanic. We're not even fully scaling off of anything else. We're just using the mobs, their health, to just do what we needed to do. And we have zero fear, zero worries. And yeah, sure, my character in itself, you'll see when we look at it and go over it, has a ton of expensive gear. But in itself, you can do this with lesser gear. Plenty of people have played the Ignite Chieftain Explode. Chieftain in itself has a 500% health explodey thingy on its passive tree. I forget all the details and all the words directly off the top of my head. BV is a great source of explode. Penance Brand is a great source of explode, and just a lot of skills can do it. All of the self-cast skills can do it, and you know, it's just a really, really fun, cool thing to do. Now, this build in itself has been actually requested by you tons and tons and tons of times. I constantly get DMs all the time about the POB for this character. I constantly get DM'd about why certain things work and certain interactions work and how this build was put together. And, you know, I'm going to use the rest of this video today to just pretty much like show off and talk about what this build is doing, how it works, the mechanics behind it, what to expect, what not to expect. And hopefully this will give you some ideas for a future build that you're playing or something that you're trying to do. Maybe this isn't the build for you. Maybe this build is a little bit too expensive, but maybe the ideas in the build or the ideas that the video has to offer can inspire a future build for you. Maybe it showcases you something you didn't know. Maybe it gives you an idea of where to go with your build. And maybe it just kind of opens up the world a little bit in ways that you weren't. Ooh, dang, dude, double gold in this map, bro. What is going on right now? Bro, I'm like trying to like hype people up and build a story. You're like ruining my storytelling right now. My God, dude. I mean, I guess for like golden oils, but damn, bro. We gonna do? Give me like a divine name. Ooh, synthesize rings. What we got? 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 Melee damage? No, minion damage. We'll take minion damage. Okay, okay, okay. Give me the divine now. Nope, exalted orb. Close. It was like he XD. Dude, I tell you, man, Blight is really cool too because it gives a lot of synthesized items all the time. And in a world where synthesized items are really hard to come by, this is awesome. Now, I know I had mentioned tier 17s. This isn't going to be a full tier 17 map. Hi, Will. Hello, Will. Will's gonna watch this and be like, that's me, bruh. And be like, yeah, bruh. That's you, bruh. Now, this, like I said, this isn't gonna be a full tier 17 map. This isn't going to be like a be all end all. This is just, I just want to showcase. Oh, wait, we can't do that. I just want to show the power of explode in other scenarios, in other circumstances. So we're not going to do this whole map. I really don't want to spend a lot of time trying to do a tier 17 map. If you want to see tier 17 maps, I have plenty of videos on tier 17 maps and how to do it. I just want to show off really quickly what this looks like in a map that doesn't constantly have reduced action speed or energy shield or reflect or no regen or marked by death. Less area effect is also really bad. We're BB. We need area of effect. We're also explodey. We need area of effect. We do this. This is still maximum energy shield and it feels bad. And no regen. Bruh. The one time you're trying to do things, the game's like he XD and you're like, dang, dude. Okay. So we're just gonna do barrel back. This is a back to basics Atlas before anybody says anything. Back to basics Atlas. We're not gonna go grab a bunch of scarabs. We're just gonna put it in. We're gonna make big pack sizes. And we're just gonna showcase how it explodes the mobs, and then we'll go over all the gear, the passive tree, and then I'll let you guys, you know, go from there and figure it out. Okay, go there. And then just like that, you can see Explode in itself is doing what it needs to do. It is chaining throughout the map. Things and mobs are exploding. And overall, like, you can just really take advantage of Explode full clearing screens. It's one of the coolest things about Path of Exile in itself is that Explode in itself is one of the best. Whoa, okay. One of the best, coolest ways to do things. That Voidborn Reliquary Key, stay tuned for the end. We'll open that one at the end. But the main basis of what I wanted to showcase and what I wanted to, you know, talk about and demonstrate was just that Blight plus Explode, Explode plus mapping, just hand in hand. Oh, it's just always so good. But let's talk about the build and where it goes and what it's doing. We are indeed playing an assassin. We are playing an assassin that gets a lot of power charges and takes advantage of the assassin tree. The assassin tree in itself just gives us access to a lot of free crit, a lot of free damage, a lot of free everything. So normally we start with the gear, but let's talk about assassin first, then we'll go into the gear, why we chose assassin. Assassin gives you just more critical strike chance. Critical strike chance always have culling, so you're always going to have culling. Your explodes are always going to have culling. You're always going to get crit. You're always just going to deal damage, right? You just can't beat that. Crits cannot be reflected. So as long as you're critting, you can't be reflected. The idea is we have 100% crit, but we just don't want to risk the deal with reflect. We should be reflect immune because we always attack and we always crit, but sometimes weird things happen and sometimes you die, or I'm just dumb. I don't know which of the two that it is, but your crits all of the time are always reflect immune. So you shouldn't have many issues. I don't think I'm like fully crit chance without power charges. So, you know, you have to like build up your power charges and stuff like that. You're going to gain a power charge chance on critical strikes, and non-critical strikes, you're going to gain a maximum power charge. So assassin just gives you tons of crit. Crit is what we're going to scale for the explode. We're going to get more crit damage, more crit chance per power charge, and we're going to gain elusive on crit. So we take no extra damage from critical strikes while elusive. Elusive gives us an all damage avoid buff. We get a movement speed buff, and pretty much just assassin fits what we're trying to do with the whole exploding thing. So we start with assassin. From there, we are going to decide on a skill. In our case, we're going to be doing Blade Vortex. There are other really good skills like Penance Brand. Penance Brand is a really good one. If you're looking for Blade Vortex and you want to do Blade Vortex and you want to do a lesser variant of this Blade Vortex, Chronic Painless, whose information is linked for you down below. Huge fan of Chronic Painless, huge friend of the stream, the community. Absolutely fantastic. The father of Blade Vortex has all kinds of wonderful information on Blade Vortex, how to build it up from the ground up, how to league start it, how to get your gear going, how to get to this stage of the game, and pretty much just kind of does the exact same thing, except he focuses more on the cold side of things. So not only are you exploding everything, but everything is frozen in its path, and he does an absolutely fantastic job of walking you through the steps and really holding your hand. Now, I had mentioned we're going to be doing Blade Vortex. The big difference in what Chronic does versus what we're doing is we're a bit more on the higher end. We convert off the scepters to a bow variant. So we're going to be using a bow. In our case, we're going to be using a mirror tier bow, but you can use bows with explode. You can use bows with double damage. As long as your bow is synthesized, I highly recommend if you're going to go with a cheaper variant of the bow, you go with a bow with explode. Explode is the bread and butter of everything that we're trying to do. Explode makes or breaks the build. You want more explode. If it's too late in the league, if it's in the future, the explode bow doesn't exist yet, a double damage bow really does the job, but we really are looking for that explode. Our bow is going to be hit with Essence of Woe until we get the mods that we need. We pretty much Essence of Woe, we lock suffixes, cannot roll attack, exalt slam, puts on socketed gems to make this bow really straightforward. Essence of Woe until crit multi-mod, lock, multi-mod, cannot roll attack, exalt slam gives you +1 socketed gems, craft on, prefixes can't be changed, ashling for double damage, or veiled orb for double damage, and then you're pretty much done and good to go. The bow is actually pretty, you know, pretty straightforward and streamlined. If you get stuck, you have questions, leave a comment down below. Come stop by the Discord community or one of the live streams, either on YouTube or Twitch, and just ask some questions. I'll happily walk you through crafting the base of the bow if you manage to get a double damage or explode bow. Our bow is going to have an LE pellet penetration support. We're going to pair it with a Val Blade Vortex. Val Blade Vortex is actually really cool. It deals a ton of damage. I really recommend the Val Blade Vortex. We use the bow in itself to scale our Blade Vortex to the moon. You see we have level 30 Blade Vortex. We have an Empower support. Ideally, Empower 5 would be nicer. It would give us a level 31 Blade Vortex. We have Awaken Unleash. That is what allows us to get 5 blades when we cast our Blade Vortex. If I take out this Unleash and I cast my Blade Vortex, you see I only get 1 blade. It becomes really difficult to maintain the Blade Vortex. So this is pretty much a mandatory thing. It doesn't need to be level 5 right away. You can get a level 1, but you want an Unleash so that you can scale up the amount of blades that you get as fast as possible. Power charge and crit support. We gain already a bunch of power charges because we're assassin, but we use this for the more damage per power charge modifier, and inspiration for crit, and just overall mana cost reduction. The helmet is graveyard crafted. I no longer have the graveyard craft, unfortunately. There are tons of graveyards out there, and this recipe is indeed out there. With a little bit of Googling, you'll be able to find it. Essentially, we just wanted to fracture maximum power charges so that we can get a free power charge on the helmet. The power charge, because Assassin gives tons and tons of damage, we got Cannot Be Blinded on ours, which I guess ideally we fracture power charges and increase area of effect support, which would be really nice. We roll for spell suppression, which we managed to actually get in the graveyard craft. My graveyard for this helmet was absolutely bonkers. It came out with fractured power charges, fractured Cannot Be Blind, increased area of effect, and spell suppression. And I pretty much just was like, well, we're done. Good game. Used Eldritch Currency, rolled on max life, crafted on Fizz taken as, did the Eldritch Implicence for increased mana reservations and damage per power charge. You do, in fact, need the 12% increased mana reservation if you do it my way and you copy this. Call to Arms to trigger Enduring Cry, Steel Skin with automation. Pretty straightforward. The amulet in itself, just quantity, mana efficiency of skills, strength, extra cold damage. This amulet pretty much is for the mana reservation, quantity, and strength. We needed a certain amount of strength for it to fit in our build. This amulet is actually not very good. It could definitely be increased and made better, but we did need a bunch of strength. If I take this amulet off, you see we're missing a bunch of strength. We put a bunch of strength on, and then we're pretty much good to go. Our quiver, we did a graveyard craft to fracture on Fizz as extra cold. The first time I did this graveyard craft, I failed it. I managed to find this quiver on the trade website. If you can get a quiver that has a fractured influence modifier, you can pretty much just do whatever you want. Necropolis is busted. That's all I have to say. If you can't get this quiver, you can use essences to roll and try to hit the Shaper mod and do everything else that you want to do. The quiver is nice. We could do a little bit more with the quiver. I'd kill everything as is. We're not going to touch the quiver. The quiver is beautiful. We use a Venturous Gamble, bunch of resistance, quantity, life, rarity, because we're playing a Magic Find build. Magic Find in itself for Blight doesn't really do a whole lot outside of the Pump Explosion, but I mean, this character is really good in tier 17s too, so you get double-edged sword and go Magic Find tier 17s. We pair it with a Calandra's Touch Ring. Now, the reason why earlier in the video I said I wasn't going to go over all of the Blight Ravaged tactics is because this character in its current state is using a Ring of Calandra, and Ring of Calandras can't be anointed to have different anoints, and you would use different anoints for Blight Ravage. But because the build is so strong, and because Ignite is such a powerful league mechanic, or such a powerful mechanic in itself, we don't really need to worry too much about ring anoints. We just focus on the sheer power of Ignite and the sheer power of Explode, and we just kind of like go from there. Our chest plates in itself is one of the graveyard necropolis monstrosities. We managed to find this on trade as a base with +1 socketed gems and increased area of effect, and we just kind of crafted it up from there. And you know, we just took a base that was, I don't remember if it was Redeemer and I don't remember if it was Crusader. It was one of the two sides. We elevated the mod, we grabbed the other elevated side, we slammed them together, and with a little bit of luck, it rolled decks, and we were thrilled. Chest was done. You do need a lot of decks with this build. You do need a lot of strength with this build. This build is really tight on stats. And the gloves, we took very basic. We took Alva Temple gloves. We fractured on the increased damage with chilled. We hit these gloves with a bunch of fossils for the abyssal socket. We did that until we got spell suppression. Craft of Exile actually does a really good job of walking you through what to do. If you don't know how to do this, you can go to craftofexile.com. I'm waiting for the website to load. You can come to craftofexile.com. You can click on gloves. You can click on dex-based gloves. You could scroll down and look for the modifier that you're looking for. We are looking for, I guess abyssal socket's not working. Hold on. Where is it? Fossils. We click on fossils. We go down. Where is the abyssal socket? Socketed hidden gems. Enhance. Is it not on here? I know it's on here. Oh, do I have to do it this way? There it is. Hollow fossil for abyssal socket. And then we are using or looking for, where is it? Spell suppress. Just say tier 2. And then you go calculate. So hollow fossil, because this gives you the abyssal socket. And then we click on that. And then you can just follow one of these recipes to get where you want to be. That's for the suffixes. I only cared about spell suppression and abyssal socket. If you do copy this build or you do go down this route, make sure that you get enough spell suppression to do what you need to do. The prefix, we just went with maximum life with Eldritch Currency. You can Ashling or Veiled Orb on Fizz, convert it to cold with max life, and then not have to completely elevate the Fizz, convert it to cold in the Eldritch Implicits, and you could get a lesser tier of it. This was a lot cheaper to do it this way, and we were pretty happy. Headhunter, I actually got a double corrupted Headhunter. Headhunter this leagues are really cheap. I got a double corrupted Headhunter with increased skill effect duration so that my Blade Vortex actually lasts longer. We use Headhunter because we're a BV build and we're scaling up buffs and effects and explode, and Headhunter plus Blight is an absolutely fantastic combination. And then lastly, we have Goldworm Boots, fractured with extra spell suppress. Our gloves in the abyssal socket, we have a chance to avoid shock and poison. We're essentially just looking for a jewel with a high chance to avoid being shocked so that we can pair ailment immunity with the Storm Shroud that is somewhere on our character. It's somewhere. It's here. I know I have it. Is it this one? It's right there. Storm Shroud. Storm Shroud pretty much says modifiers that are applied to being shocked apply to all elemental ailments. So essentially what happens is you just get a 100% chance to avoid being shocked, and then you have a 100% chance to avoid all ailments. We have phase run in our gloves with life tap support and flame dash. Essentially what you can do is you can get a bunch of BV stacks and then you can press phase run and run all around. I really never use it. It's really cute. It's really cheeky. I rather just like BV, flame dash, and explode things, but it's up to you how you want to handle it. You really don't need this setup with the flame dash and the phase run. You could pretty much put whatever you want there. In our boots, we have an Arcanus brand, Hydrosphere, Frostbite, and a Bone Chill setup. This is actually insane damage on bosses, and one of the ways that if you were to take this into a tier 17 maps, you would like run around the map, kill the map, explode the map, get a bunch of headhunter buffs, go into the boss room, Arcanus brand the boss, stand on top of it, and just hope to God, press Val Blade Vortex and go, please, and then it dies. Flask are pretty straightforward. Progenesis, because it's the most busted thing in the game, and it gives you a lot of recoup so that if you take a hit, you don't immediately just die. Taste of Hate for extra Fizz converted to cold, because Blade Vortex just does a ton of damage. Also, we get Fizz converted as extra cold damage, and you know, we negate damage that we take. We avoid being chilled and frozen, which doesn't really do anything. We have a Quicksilver Flask for movement speed, a Jade Flask with critical strike chance, and a Diamond Flask for increased evasion chance. Our chest, I forgot to go over the gems in the chest. We have a 21 Hatred, we have an Enlightened support, we have a Grace, a Herald of Ash, a Dread Banner, and a Zealotry. Now note the chest has +1 level of socketed support gems. This makes the Enlightened level 5. This craft on this chest is actually really important to put the Enlightened to level 5 to fit everything. The increased effect of non-cursors is really nice. It's really cool to have. You don't need it, but it's extra. Same thing with the increase. The only thing that you really need is the enemies explode. The increased area of effect from the Elevate Crusader is nice if you want to chain the explosions very big and very large. Not fully needed. You just need the explode modifier. It is the bread and butter, probably one of the most important things of the build, tied with alongside the bow. If you can't get an explode bow, you definitely need an explode chest, and then you get a double damage bow. But I wouldn't get like a basic bow. I would get one or the other, an explode bow or a double damage bow. Some people will say that you have enough explode via the chest. I'm a big fan of having more is better. That's just me. Our ascendancy tree, we talked about, we are an assassin. Assassin is pretty straightforward. You know, we went over the assassin. We grab a militant faith for increased area of damage and non-curse auras. The big takeaway from the militant faith is we want to make sure that it doesn't alter any of our major nodes here or here. We want these nodes to be the same. The only thing that we need the militant faith to do is be of dominus so that it changes this node to inner conviction. If I take this off, you see that this is supreme ego. We put this on, this is inner conviction. Dominus will always be Inner Conviction. The seed number on this jewel, though, can change these. Go to the trade website, look at the seed that you're looking for, put it into POE, and see if it alters these nodes. Pretty much, we use the Inner Conviction for 3% more spell damage per power charge. So we stack power charges, we get more damage per power charge. Combine that with Assassin, combine that with increased damage per power charge, or increased power charge chance from the bow right here, and you just get tons and tons and tons and tons of more damage. Down here, we have the Storm Shroud. In this variant of the build, you need Storm Shroud with increased reservation of skills. This is how you fit everything. This build in itself, if you copy exactly what I'm doing, is insanely tight, and it absolutely needs absolutely everything for everything to fit, or you're gonna have a hard time. I don't recommend fully copying everything that I have. I recommend taking the idea of BV, explode, and BV, and explode, and explode, and running with it. Build it better than me. We have a large cluster here for Blanketed Snow, Doriani's Lesson, and Snowstorm. Doriani's Lesson gives you Leech. Blanketed Snow gives you Pen. Snowstorm is just because it's in the back and we're not going to use it. We have an Assert Dominance, Towering Threat. We have it for increased area of effect and max life, increased area of effect if you kill. Pretty much the idea is we want to scale our explodes to hit the screen and be able to chain that beautiful way all the way down. We have this for Sublime Form and increased area of effect so that we can get fit in all of our auras and reservations. We have another Assert Dominance and Towering Threat here doing the exact same thing. And we have Forbidden Flame and Forbidden Flesh for Polymath. That's the Trickster one. Like, it's the one that gives you, let me grab Polymath for you and get you the exact wording on Polymath. Let's pull up Path of Building. I realize I just forget what so many of these things do off the top of my head, and please forgive me. Okay, let's see. We have Path of Building. We go into the Trickster side of things. I believe this one is Polymath. It gives you 3% more damage for each different type of mastery you have, and you recover life, energy shield, and mana on kill for each different type of mastery that you have. And you'll notice right away, we have a bunch of different masteries. We have one there, 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 and we just get a bunch of extra damage and a bunch of regen. We have a bunch of tattoos for spell suppression. You need to have the tattoos to hit spell suppression cap. Life mastery for more life, recover life on kill. We have a natural instinct with corrupted blood here for CB immunity. We get access to all these beautiful things. If you want, you can actually tattoo some of these small nodes and get extra effects if you so choose to, but we just leave it alone how it is. Sovereignty and an influence and all those fun things for increased area effect and more reservation. Elemental mastery. This, you actually see we have reduced reflected elemental damage. Ideally, you would have hits inflict exposure minus 25% or is inverted. This, because I was doing a reflect map, forgot to change it. Caster mastery for opening up chests, because I am really lazy when I'm doing blighted maps. You actually don't need this. You can actually put this into this for more damage. So you can take this whole wheel out and put it here for more damage. We have another large cluster with Force Multiplier, Iron Breaker, Master of the Fundamentals. This gives you double damage, fizz damage. This gives you increased fizz damage. We convert all of our fizz to cold, so we scale our fizz and convert it over to cold. Assert power, assert dominance and vast power, more area of effect and more area of effect per power charge, and more area of effect if you killed. And the same thing here. We have another vast power and assert dominance. We have the second Forbidden Flame here and the second half of it. And then this jewel is very important. This is the rest of the ability to avoid being shocked. One of the ways that you can free up a lot of space if you copy what I do is to get a helmet that has fractured power charges, fractured increased area of effect support. Then you can roll the ailment immunity for shock on the helmet with spell suppress, and then you can avoid having to do a lot of this shenanigans and getting a second jewel. Then you can just like put in like a triple crit multi jewel and just pretty much just, you know, have infinite more damage. Cold mastery for fizz converted to cold. This is the 40% here, 35 there, and then another 25. That's how we get our convert. Heart of Ice for cold penetration. You have a Watcher's Eye for critical strike chance while affected by hatred. We get another power charge. We get more life and resistances here, and then 3% increased damage per power charge, frenzy charge, and then minimum power charges, gain damage per power charge, and increased damage per power charge. Overall, like I said, the build is pretty straightforward. It just does what I needed to do, and the biggest takeaway that I wanted to put in this video is that it just absolutely positively demolishes Blight, and is one of the best, coolest, blightest builds that I've played in a while. I really like the concept of exploding Blight, and I really wanted to bring this video to you guys. A lot of you guys really ask about this video. They ask about this POB, and I just wanted to kind of get it out to you guys and give it to you guys. If you have suggestions for other really cool builds that you want to see, or there's something you want me to try, or a tactic or test that you want me to do during the rest of the Crapless League or in the future, please don't hesitate to stop by the live stream, come by the Discord, leave a comment in the POE channel, or if you're playing other games or just looking for a fun community to play in, I really recommend stopping by the Discord. We have a lot of guys playing a bunch of different games, a lot of people hanging out. We're personally here in this community going to be trying out Last Epoch, Diablo 4. We do a little Black Desert Online, and we invite you guys to, come hang out. But for now, friends, I'm going to get this video out to you guys, and I'll see you all in the next one.